Success means different things for each of us. For some, it might be financial success, like achieving financial independence or becoming a millionaire. For others, it might mean having time to spend with your family. And for somebody else, it might just mean achieving a state of wellness and enjoying your day-to-day life. Well, these are 8 simple things that successful people do that the poor don't. They low-key enjoy failure. Not just being okay with it, but actually kind of celebrating it and being proud of all the stupid things that you've done and the lessons that you've learned from them is a trait that I've seen a lot of really successful people have. But successful people look at every single failure as a learning opportunity, as something, as a way not to invent the light bulb. Whereas successful people really understand that they might need to start and fail 20 different businesses, embarrass themselves in front of their friends and family, trying all these different things before they find that business that makes them $1 million a year, that changes their life, their family's lives, that is rewarding and fulfilling. Well, most people are too scared of failure and the risk to take all those shots. Successful people realize that failure is just part of the game. And if you're okay with that, if you're not worried about it, within reason, then that just takes a lot of stress out of life when you realize that failure is part of success. They understand leverage. If you're out there lone cowboying it, solo squatting it, doing your own thing, there's only so much you can grow. There's only so many mistakes that you can stupidly make and learn from. There's only so much you can read on your own, only so much experience you can have yourself, only so much time in the day. Like for example, if you have, let's say $100,000 to invest and you want to invest in real estate, well, you could either buy one property for $100,000, even though that totally went away with inflation, but I'm using round numbers here because I suck at math. Or you could take that same $100,000 and you could split it up and leverage it, pretty much get loans and buy 4 different properties. Now you're controlling 4 times more stuff with the same amount of resources. And this applies to so many different things. It applies to hiring people, using tools like AI, just setting up your life and systems so that not everything comes back to you, but you can use other people, other resources, other people's money to compound what you have yourself instead of being limited by your resources and your time. Most people don't want to do this because they think that the solution is always to work harder, which is just not the case. It's to work smarter or to leverage. And the same with investing, where people will take far less reward if it means less risk. But if you take less risk, you deserve far less reward, and therefore you might never reach financial independence because you were too scared to take any risks, which totally makes sense because you worked really hard for that money. You don't want to risk it. But if you don't risk it, you're not going to get a biscuit. There's a saying that goes like that. They must. We all know that we should do something. We should exercise. We should eat better. We should probably start that business. We should probably read a book. We have all these shoulds, but then we don't end up following through and we get frustrated with ourselves. But successful people understand how to take it from a should to a must. And that is where change actually happens. When suddenly that thing that we probably should do, we must do. There is no other option. That's when real progress starts. Like if you're attacking an island and you're leading your troops, the best way to ensure success as much as humanly possible is to burn the ships behind you, to make sure that there is no other choice. To commit to every Monday at 9 a.m., I'm gonna upload a video no matter what happens for years on end. That's how you actually stick with something long term. And that's what I've been really doing for a while with a couple different areas of my life, is in my mind, not having it be a should, but having it be something that I have to do and there is no other option, and then just continually putting in the reps. By the way, if you're enjoying this and getting any value, feel free to subscribe. It is free, and every Monday at 9 a.m. I post a video. They read differently. And to prove this, I want to throw a few stats out to you. 11% of rich people read for entertainment compared to 79% of poor. 85% of rich people read 2 or more education, career-related, or self-improvement books per month compared to only 15% of the poor. I've talked about this before, and honestly, I think we all kind of subconsciously know that the more you read, the more you can learn from other people's mistakes, from other people's successes, be inspired by some of the most successful people in the world spend years accumulating all of their knowledge and compounding it down into one little book that you can even skim. It's life-changing. We all kind of know this. Try to make it a habit. Read 1 page a day. Commit to 1 book a month. You can pretty much brainwash yourself over a year or 2 into being the type of person that you want to be just by staying inspired that way. They protect their life. And I don't mean just from like wild animals and bears and cheeseburgers, but I mean that they really pay attention to how they're spending their time, their energy, their resources, because they realize we only have so many years and so much energy right now. And while most people spend an insane amount of their time and energy burning time, really just wasting it, trying to get to the weekend, trying to distract themselves from what's going on, successful people realize how important it is, how life-changing it is to focus on the time you have and use it to the best of your ability. In a way, I've actually been saving a decent amount of time and gaining a little bit of enjoyment is with the sponsor of today's video, Cook Unity. Now, Cook Unity is the first chef-to-you meal delivery service. Something that's been really fun for us is not only do we not have to cook every day and we can kind of have really high quality meals without having to go to a restaurant, wait in line, spend way more than we actually pay for these, for honestly not really as good of food, but I've also been able to try so many different foods that I have never tried in my life, and they are absolutely amazing. Cook Unity chefs offer a wide range of meals with over 7 different dietary preferences, including vegan, paleo, and gluten-free options. A couple that I have tried recently is whole roasted sweet potato with lamb from Chef Anthony Nichols. This one was seriously so good. The other day, Meredith had spicy whole chicken tacos from Chef Ruben Garcia. That was one of her favorites, and one of my favorites that I've gotten with pretty much every order because I love them so much is pork tacos from Chef Akhtar Nawab. Honestly, I could eat these like every single day. Subscriptions are super flexible. You can pause, skip weeks, or cancel anytime. If you guys want to check them out, you can go to cookunity.com/GabeBolt or use the link down in the description and use code GabeBolt50 for 50% off of your first order. Trust me, it's wicked good. They wake up early. Most of us know that the early bird catches the worm and all those type of sayings. And I think we understand that it's a good idea to wake up early, but in actuality, it's something that's pretty hard to do. But successful people realize that time really can change everything. Like, most of us feel like we don't have enough time, and yet at night we'll watch Netflix, we'll scroll through our phones. So even if you're not a morning person, which I am not at all, you can shift that time of watching Netflix at night into waking up 1 hour earlier and taking that 1 hour to start your side hustle, to learn stuff, to go to the gym, all those things that you say you don't have time to do, you do. You're just choosing to waste your time doing other things instead. Even as somebody who's not a morning person, I would still say that you don't really have a problem waking up early. You have a problem going to bed early. But when I made that shift to getting up earlier, I started my YouTube channel. I've started most of the things that I have become successful on. It's because I take the first couple hours of the day, I wake up before anybody else while the whole world's asleep, and I focus on building a future for myself, on bettering myself. And that has completely changed my life. And it's a thing that a lot of really successful people do. They use repetition. So why did Michael Jordan still practice 2 hours a day, taking like 1,000 shots when he's already the best in the world? He's already Michael Jordan. Well, it's because that's how he became Michael Jordan. That's how you achieve most forms of success. You see, it's not enough to know something. It's not enough to understand money, to know how to start a business, to understand diet and exercise. You see, most people will think that they know something because they read it. Well, you don't really know that, you understand it. You truly know something when you actually take action on it, when you do it, when you put in the reps. Most people get caught in this trap of understanding things, but you don't get rewarded for understanding anything. You never get rewarded for understanding the stock market. You get rewarded for investing in the stock market. The same with starting a business, with exercise. It doesn't matter if you understand how to do everything in the world. If you never actually go to the gym and put in some work, you will not be rewarded. And that's where successful people realize that in order to become a master, in order to become really successful in any field, you have to put in repetition after repetition until you become better, and making progress becomes almost automatic. It becomes something that you just do. You don't think about stuff, you don't read about stuff, you do stuff. They don't avoid pain. In today's world, most of our lives kind of revolve around avoiding pain, avoiding discomfort. We're really not far from this. But successful people realize that pain and discomfort is where growth happens. Life really begins at the edge of your comfort zone. Muscles are gained from going to the gym, ripping them apart, doing something hard, and then they grow back stronger. The same applies to almost every area of your life. When you have an uncomfortable conversation that is something that needs to be said, you can fix that problem. You can grow that relationship. When you do that hardest part of getting started, maybe putting yourself out there on the internet and realizing that when something is uncomfortable, when something's hard, that should actually be an indicator that it's something that you should do. If you never do that and you just stick with things that are easy, come naturally to you, it's gonna be really hard to grow as a person. It's gonna be really hard to become successful. The whole idea of pushing yourself is to do things that aren't easy. It's all stuff that makes sense, but each individual choice is extremely hard to do. So successful people really train themselves to lean into discomfort and into pain, not like physical pain necessarily, just saying, you get the idea. And if you want to become more successful, then don't forget to subscribe to this channel. I can't stress how free it is. And if you decide that you hate me later, you can always unsubscribe. I'll see you next week.